Hello, everybody.
Hey.
Hi, everybody.
We got some exciting news for you guys today. We got Travis right here in the bottom of your screen. He looks a little different. He didn't want to come on tonight. He's trying to grow his mustache out, and it's not quite there. So he wanted to keep it anonymous, but we've got him here.
How you guys
Good,
Right.
good. Great to have you, sir.
Absolutely. Can you hear me?
Yep,
Yep.
absolutely.
Gotcha.
Okay. I didn't see my little chat bubble moving and stuff. So, but yeah, before we popped on the show, we were chatting about different chemistries and stuff.
Yeah, good stuff.
So, we've kind of alluded. We have a new product coming out. And we're not going to release full details tonight, but
Well, hang on before you go through all that. Actually, just in case there's a couple people out there who don't know exactly who you are, will you kind of introduce yourself a little bit?
oh, absolutely.
Sorry, I don't mean to be rude.
No, absolutely. I am Travis Young with JY Power. We are a lithium battery manufacturer and design company. We started in 2015, and we are on our third iteration of new batteries. So, actually, our fourth. Well, we've released our third. We're working on releasing our fourth. So,
Absolutely.
Right. So there's something new coming, right?
yeah, we've
It's exciting.
we've kind of sat back the last few years, and we've watched a new technology pop up. And that is the LTO craze that everybody is kind of seeing. So we will be entering that, and we will be entering that strongly. I think the product we have solves a lot of issues that people have had in the past, and does so at a, I like to kind of view things in a dollar per watt aspect. And we've crossed under the 10 cents a watt threshold retail.
Wow.
So, it's a pretty big deal. Yeah, pretty big deal. And one of the big things for us, we're a dealer-based company. So when we release a product, we can't just release it at the cheapest possible price. Everybody's got to make a little bit of money so that it actually can get to the consumer. Because a lot of our consumers wouldn't even know about some of our products if it weren't for the dealers buying them and then presenting them to the customer. So, we have to have margin built in there. So
Right.
we've been able to double the margin in comparison to other DIY products that are available. So we're really excited about it. We should get a lot of dealer support. They're pretty hyped up about it, and more so competitors. You're getting a lot of power in a small package.
Can you see any of the comments that are coming through, Travis?
Yes, I can see Dan and I can see Jeremy.
I can't actually. We can't. Or I'm sorry, I can't see who it is. It just says Facebook user on my side.
So let me tell you why. This is why that is. So I made a mistake when I clicked for us to start the live, and I clicked on the group, the Facebook group, and in the Facebook group, unless the person goes and says yes, let them see my identity, it'll show them as Facebook user. So normally I just do it on the page, and it's just a mistake I made. So everybody that's commenting and there's Facebook users probably out of the group.
I see.
Hey, Gary. Sorry, I got a little sidetracked there.
So Travis, where do you get the little round thing? How do you do that?
Little round thing.
Your logo, your profile picture.
This one?
Yeah.
I think it just picked it up because I signed into StreamYard through Facebook.
Okay.
That's his profile picture on Facebook, actually. Believe it or not.
And so the StreamYard,
if you go to
makes the circle thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's going through Messenger, basically.
Yep.
Because that's his profile
I
picture.
had an
on
option to
Messenger.
sign in through
Okay.
YouTube or Facebook, and I ended up signing in through Facebook.
Yeah. Cool.
But yeah, that's my picture from Idiocracy.
Yeah. I've been trying to get this on the Base Wars YouTube channel. I upload them always after, but I've been trying to do it live on there. But the YouTube channel will not ever approve me for whatever reason. They They say it takes 24 hours. I've been waiting 3 months. You know?
Weird. Have you talked to Bill at all about that?
No, I hadn't. I probably should. He'd probably help me out.
Bill's the guy to go to on that for sure.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, Bill definitely has the hookups there.
Maybe I should just put Bill on the account.
It's not a bad idea.
Let's let Bill play.
Maybe we should ask Bill for his I don't know, his IT skills.
He does have a consultation fee set up and everything. So if you guys need help, set up to
Right?
I mean, we
this
kind
is
of
true.
pretty much got the conference.
Yeah, that's right. It's true. Yeah, we could just let him sign in and do what he likes. Those videos they make for their live, man, those things
I
are
love
cool.
them.
Man, those things are cool.
Yeah, they're put together really, really well. So it's nice to see something in audio done to that level of
right.
Absolutely, I agree 100%. It's actually just really cool the way it all just plays out, and just
Yeah. So Travis, this product you got coming out is coming out later this week.
So we're gonna announce ordering and everything later this week, and then we expect them to be in probably late February with Chinese shutdown and everything like that.
Yeah.
And then everybody's dealing with right now. One of the major shipping companies went bankrupt. So anybody that had anything coming here over the last few months was pretty much just kicked right in the dick.
Stop.
What shipping company was that?
I'm not sure what the details are. Jake actually
international shipping.
Yeah, and it was like one of the big ones that like owned all the boats. So I don't even understand how they went bankrupt, but big business and stuff.
Yeah,
but we're expecting delays through 2018. So we've actually had to work it into our 2018 plan that we're not going to be able to sell as much because we're just not going to be able to get it here fast enough. So we've kind of had to maneuver around that in different ways.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So yeah, shipping right now is fun, but it shouldn't hamper this a whole lot. We've kind of built that news into these timelines already. So cases are being pulled up right now. We just finished final renders. We finished product testing last week on the actual pack assembly and everything. So pretty happy with this. So
that's cool. Okay, y'all. Hey, I'm gonna put up the link to the page right quick, and then I'm gonna cut it off the group. So if you're in the Base Wars group, click that link right here, and come on over to the page. I'll just give it just a couple of minutes. But if you're in the if you're in the Base Wars group, click that link. That's where the page is, and come over to the page. I'm gonna kill it. That way we can see who's commenting.
Yeah, because we can't see it right now. I apologize.
I ended up just having Facebook open on another.
Yeah, I had to do it. I was trying to do the same thing on my phone, but it's kind of lagging behind. So
yeah.
All right. So here we go. I'm gonna kill the.
All right, we're switching over, guys. We're not in the stream. Just be patient with us. We apologize.
Come over to the Base Wars page. My bad, y'all. I normally don't do this, and I just forgot and got click happy.
And we out.
Yeah. Okay. We're good. Now, hopefully they'll come, but otherwise we'll just have the people that's in the Base Wars group and the Base News group.
Absolutely.
Pages. Sorry.
So, other than that, Travis, you got any other big news you'd like to share with us? Any builds going on? I mean, I hate to bring out a sore subject, but what's up with the Cube?
Cube's sitting for a while. I got to recover financially to put that back into play. And when I do, it's probably going to come to Vegas and stay here. So if you want to see the Cube, you'll have to come to CES if CES continues, or you'll have to come to JY, or you'll have to come to CY. We're not going to tote it around the country anymore. It's $7,000 to $10,000 to go to a show and just tow fees, and that's not including getting us there.
Man, yeah, that's a
Absolutely.
lot.
So like maybe we take it to Slam once a year, something like that. But it's it's going to be a little while, like 2022 maybe. Kicker's got to come out with the product that I want to put in it. We all know they're not done coming out with product.
Right.
And we just took everything out of it. Before we took everything out, last time Hunter and I actually got to play with it, we did do a 70 with it on about 12,500 watts. So
Wow.
yeah, we were extremely happy with that.
Yeah.
That was in the cold too. It was about 20 degrees outside, which is why we moved to 20K or to 12K because the batteries were actually frozen. So
Dang. Yeah. So there's an echo. Can you tell who it is, Dan?
I don't think it's me. I got headphones on.
I don't hear no echo anywhere. Echo,
I
echo, echo.
think it's
I hear
probably
Have either of you got a separate Facebook page open?
no. I have headphones on though.
Yeah. Do you have it, Jimmy? Do you have Facebook open?
I did. I just shut it down.
Yeah, that'll probably stop it. Are we good, Dan?
No
Nope,
more
we're not.
echo.
No, it's still there.
Hey, there we go. Now I can see.
I don't know.
Still not going. Who's it coming from, Dan?
Yeah. See, no
I just
one
heard-
else is hearing that but you, Dan.
I
You
hear
got
it.
that Walmart phone, Dan?
No, I
That
heard
on
it
the
too.
special.
Weird.
Maybe we need Bill's services more than we thought. Right.
Everybody needs to get a bill. Everybody
Right.
needs to get a bill.
Absolutely.
He goes over quite a few of our press releases, and he helps us out pretty tremendously. So
Yeah. Yeah, I like Bill.
oh yeah, but yeah, the cube will come back someday. But for me to fill it again, it's going to be another 6-digit budget. So
Ooh, that's a big one.
yeah. When we built it, I could have bought like a really nice house or 2 nice houses, depending on
Wow.
where you live. But it did its job. We got to take it out. People got to experience it. It was one of those builds where people are sitting around as teenagers joking about what they'd do if they had $1 million.
Yeah.
You could take a box fan and put 4015s in it, man. Yeah, we did it. So
No doubt.
Absolutely.
it'll probably come back someday. But I have 1 or 2 things that I want to build for myself before that. And then right now we have Steve's Move Air project.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
That's going to move to more finish work here soon now that all the structure's done. So
I can't wait to see what that thing's going to be. It's going to be pretty nasty.
oh yeah,
That's a lot of metal.
Gately has to come out soon because we're actually going to be working with Gately also for custom seat and a custom dash, I believe. So
Okay.
yeah, so lots of new stuff. I don't know what shows it's going to. I don't even know if there are shows next year. The way things are going right now.
Hush your dirty mouth. We're having shows all next year. We're not stopping.
All right. Well, we were able to buy with
You know how much withdrawals I've went through not being able to go to CES this year and all the other big shows. I can't do it again.
Show I went to this year.
Yeah.
It's the only one I've been able to make.
We were able to use the outdoor thing to be able to keep having the shows, in some states where we are down here in the South, we could have them still.
I think by the time show season really hits in full effect, we should be coming out of this from history's like.
I just had a show last week and it was a toy drive, but I mean, we had probably every bit of, I don't know, I'd say random on and off about 50 people that was there. And
yeah.
Granted, it was for a toy drive for the kids, but we actually had no complaints or nothing, so it was kind of nice.
The audio crowd seems less affected by the news of all this and everything like that. So, from what I've seen, the people that are still able to hold shows are still having decent shows. So, it's a diehard crowd.
Absolutely. But we're all sitting at home twiddling our thumbs, ready to go do something. We're tired of being here.
Oh, Vegas life is going pretty good, Dan. I stay in my house, so it's pretty similar to Iowa, except when I walk outside, my skin doesn't hurt.
Right.
I don't do the cold, and it's my second winter in Vegas, and I love it.
Right.
The 60s,
What's
70s.
the weather like up there, Travis?
Right now, it's a little chilly. It's 52.
Shut your dirty mouth. Wow, really? Let's see. I'm looking at, I think my high today was 36, and it's 30 degrees right now.
Yeah. I don't miss going outside and my mustache and my beard freezing, because I generally like don't shave most of the winter, so I get a little scruffy. But yeah, it was an annoyance in Iowa. I'd get icicles and stuff in all of it, so
Okay.
It happens.
Outside,
It happens.
It freezes.
Yeah.
Gross.
There's a lot of cool stuff out there in Vegas, man.
Used to be before it all shut down.
Is it shut down?
Oh man, we're at most things are at 25% capacity. We tried doing a dinner tonight because a couple months ago, some of us went out to dinner together. Gary was out here, and back then we were limited to 6 people to dine, and so we made plans around that tonight. And then Steve looked it up, and we're limited to 4 now. And restaurants are limited from 50% occupancy to 25% occupancy. So Vegas isn't doing well.
Absolutely not. I bet.
We're a tourist town that can't even fill the restricted, like the 25%. You'll go in there and there's 10% of people in there. So we could open everything up tomorrow and it wouldn't fix a thing. So. It's difficult. I'm glad we're isolated from the local economy, or we might be in bad shape right now. Some companies are doing really well too. If you're in construction right now, construction is going crazy.
There's a lot of it there too.
Oh yeah, Vegas is growing. Rents are skyrocketing here too because everybody's moving out here from California, and they're used to paying $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month rent. So I just recently moved, and I went from a 2,000 square foot 4-bedroom to a 1,600 square foot 3-bedroom, and I lost 2 parking spots in the driveway and 1 parking spot in the garage, and my rent stayed the same.
Dang, that's not right.
Yeah. So that was cool. Super.
Man, when the economy kind of tanked in 2009, I was riding around out there in Vegas and looking at the housing and stuff like that. And a lot of the really nice neighborhoods had big boulders in the front of them, and you just couldn't go in. It's like a ghost town.
Yep.
Nobody lived in them. And all those really nice homes were just sitting there empty.
Mm-hmm. So I'm
saying that if that kind of happens again, you might get one really cheap.
Well, and that's where I felt like here's where the aid kind of screwed us, because they did the eviction moratorium, which I completely understand. There's a lot of people out there that flat out can't pay their rent right now. I don't think the moratorium is the best answer, but
right,
it is what it is. Well, the cause of that is right now anybody that's renting anything out is renting it out at a premium because they can't kick out people that aren't paying or can't pay.
Right.
So my lease came up, and the owner of the house wanted to sell it like within a month. So we had to find a new place and do all this crazy stuff. So yeah, it was a little crazy, but we got stuck in this time where I had to rent something at prime. Yeah. So, and next time this kind of rolls around, I think I'm just gonna either go build something or buy a house. So
Yeah.
In my 30s, it's kind of that time, I guess.
Well, hopefully next year at CES you'll have a bedroom for me to stay at, so I don't even have to go to a hotel.
Crash on the couch.
I'm imposing right now,
We got
putting
we
my
got
bid in.
we got littles in the bedrooms, but I got an extra couch, so you're always welcome.
As Dan would say, I am little. I could probably fit on one of them beds.
No, I have little tiny humans in those beds.
Oh, sorry.
I call them littles. Not the beds are little.
Look at dibs. I got dibs.
Right.
Oh,
Hmm.
but yeah, and then I got a girlfriend this year, so that was neat. So that's going really well. We get along. So
Yeah. That's always nice. Mhm.
No, absolutely.
staying with Jeremy is always a treat.
Right.
Always.
Yep.
Jeremy always likes to go extravagant. I can
Uh-huh.
honestly say when I stay with him, we say the best of the best.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Mhm.
Oh, so
So
yeah.
Travis, y'all doing batteries, man. What else y'all doing over there?
I do have another business I'm working on right now, but I can't talk about it.
I knew I knew something. I just didn't know what it was.
Yeah, it actually we'll be selling stuff in car audio, but we won't be selling it to the public.
Yeah.
We're going into a parts manufacturing role more than likely.
That's cool.
There's a gap in the market, and we think we can fill it. So there's a lot of things that have to there's a lot of dots that need to be connected before I talk to the public and before all the suppliers know and all that fun stuff. So,
Right.
but it's coming, and if it works out, people will be pretty pleased because it means that you guys might get your audio stuff's a little bit cheaper. So
We like that.
yeah.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Other than that, I'm staying pretty well cooped up, and the time I do get off, I play some video games and spend it with family.
Yeah. So now, go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Billy.
What did you do every day? I mean, do y'all build batteries there? I mean, what is it? What do you do?
So we did that for Limitless, and we did that for the Black Case 80s. We did not opt to do that with the HP40. I've developed enough relationships in China where I have a case factory, I have a cell distributor, I have a cell welder, and then all of those get sent to a final assembly that I've actually trained. And they do, they put it all together, they package it, they test it, they make sure it's got all the hardware and everything in it. And then they ship it to us. And then we go through our stages of QC. So we open every single battery, we open cell voltage test them, and then we check for cosmetic defects. And then about 10% of the batch we'll pull and do capacity testing, and then we'll do load tests, thermal tests, IR tests, just to make sure there's nothing wrong with the whole batch that we would catch in that kind of testing. That's something similar to like what Kicker does. They don't test every single amp that goes out. But we do test every battery that goes out, just not thoroughly. We check it for the common things that would show or cosmetic defects. So things can still slip through, but they don't generally. And if they do, we've got a pretty good idea. Like if somebody hits us up the day they get their package and they're like, "Hey, my battery's resting too low," I just send them a return label instantly, and as soon as we get the package back, we ship them. So.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, man, what's the best way to charge those batteries? I was thinking it was a slower charge. Is this the case or not?
I mean, no. It really depends on what charging you have available. We say not to hook them up to your alternator right off the bat, not for the battery's sake. We say that for the alternator's sake. As a battery decreases in capacity and how much energy it has stored, it'll also decrease in resistance. So the lower the battery is, the higher, more harder it's going to pull on your alternator to recharge. And most people generally don't burn through most of their batteries, so that's why you don't experience it in use, because you're only ever dipping into 20 to 30% of the capacity. You're not starting at 30% capacity and having to charge.
Bless you.
Thank you.
So the very easy, basic, best tool I can recommend for any battery, except for lead acid AGM, I would recommend a trickle charger, cheap trickle charger, whatever you got for that. But for lithium and for caps, and for a nice test tool to have, Jimmy hit it on the head. It's power supply. If you go to Amazon and type 0 to 10 volt, 0 to 10 amp, 0 to 30 volt power supply, it'll come up. And I like the 4-knob one because it gives you a fine adjustment and a coarse adjustment.
Yes.
You get 10 amps for $60 to $70 to your door today. You can charge caps from 0 volts. You can bring back bad batteries or dead batteries with it. You can charge one cell. You can charge, however many cells up to 30 volts. You can use it to test electronics. We use it to test radios and amplifiers, make sure they turn on and shit like that.
Yeah.
We'll pre-charge amplifier capacitors with it too. So like before I go to
No more pops.
Yeah, no more sparks when you go to plug in your amp because you pre-charge the amplifier.
Right.
So, it's an amazing tool to have. Every shop should have one, and if you play with your system often, you should have one too. So it's a cheap tool that everybody should have.
Well, so if 10 amps is or whatever down there is what's good to charge them at, I'm just wondering about all these 400 amp alternators charging the batteries. I thought that wasn't really good for them. I really didn't understand why everybody does that when every lithium battery that I have experienced is, usually a slower charge, not 300 amps, but 5 amps or whatever.
So there's some caveats here. Most of the lithium that you're used to is what's going to be called an energy battery. And those are high reserve for the size format and the weight that they are. And then there's a power format, and there's in between too. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
The two distincts are your power and your energy cell. And your power does what it sounds like it does, and you've got more power output per the volume, and then the energy batteries are more reserved for the volume. So what you're used to for the most part is, the energy batteries. That's what's in your phone. That's what's in everyday electronics for the most part, and they dominate the market. That's why power cells also cost more, because they're not made in the same volumes that energy cells are made in. It's a niche application. So to get back to the question though, actually charging at a high rate. If you go to our website and you look at our website, you pull up the specification sheet. I have a low amperage charge, and we say what that does, and then we have a maximum charge, and we let people know on the specification sheet. This will give you maximum performance, but it will also decrease the cycle life of the battery.
Right. Gotcha. Makes sense.
It won't ruin it, and it's going to be similar with AGM batteries, because any battery you put in there, unless you massively oversize it, is going to have, like an AGM battery, you're only supposed to shove 5 to 10 amps into. Well, you're not doing that with your alternator, and your alternator isn't putting out full amperage either. If you hook up say one of our 40s to, I think we've got it rated up to 700 amps all. It's not actually going to pull 700 amps. You're going to pull 400 to 500 amps, and more likely closer to 300 amps. And that is an absolute maximum. And we actually had a failure this weekend because somebody ignored that. We had a battery this weekend here in Vegas, and a new HP40 at that. The case did what it was supposed to do. It held all the heat inside. There's no fire, no nothing. There's just a lot of vapor. The particular individual, he's a friend of ours, but he had bought 2 batteries, but he had only been running one. And he has 1,500 amps of charging. He was also charging at 15.5, and he had a Pitbull 20K. So he had about 1,000 amps of draw landing on the battery, which is 2 times its rated output. And then he's got 2 times the absolute maximum alternator. So the unit was being overcurrented, overcurrented on recharge and discharge, and overvolted.
Wow.
So no fire. So pretty happy. It's always a possibility when a battery goes off that something bad happens. Thankfully, he's just got kind of a smelly car and a dead battery. So. And he didn't try blaming us either. Like he jumped into the comment section. He's like, "Yo," because somebody had said like just waits for JY Power to say user error, and then he was like, "Yo, this was user error." Like actually, I beat the piss out of this battery in every way possible. So yeah, and we're gonna help him out a little bit. Like this isn't something I'm gonna warranty, but he is a friend of the company. We're gonna help him get into another unit, but. Now he knows when I say, yeah, you need to run 2 batteries because of X, Y, and Z. You run those batteries. And that's the thing. He had the other one. He just didn't have time before his show to get it.
Man, that hurts. Yeah.
So yeah, that's a big ouchie. But yeah, definitely follow manufacturer ratings. And if your battery's longevity is in your mindset of what's high value to you, because a lot of people that's not very high value to. If they get to run it for a year or 2, they're happy.
Man, the amplifier,
max.
They cost as much as the amplifier sometimes. It's pretty high priority to me.
Well, and see, there's also somewhat of an illusion to how long batteries last. Most people are pretty shocked when I talk to them about how long I expect a battery to last. AGM battery, I give 1 to 3 seasons. 3 seasons being max.
2, I'm done with it.
Yeah, and it'll still work. Do not get me wrong. You will still have a playing system, but you'll be a half a volt down. The batteries themselves will be higher resistance. They won't recharge as fast. They will have depleted capacity. If it's a Group 31, you'll go from like 100 amp hours to like 80 amp hours. So lithium, what we say is with our LFP products, we say it's a 2 to 5 year product, and that's actually tested pretty true. We still have people running the original 73s, and then we've also had people that overcharged their batteries for 2 years, brought it in, had it capacity tested, and this little 23 amp hour battery that spent most of its life at 15.5 was now at 4 amp hours. So that battery died a long time ago, and they never really knew it. So we have our ratings there for a reason. It was going to do better, and if I could push that marketing that little bit more and feel comfortable with it, I would. But some of our
not on batteries.
But yeah, no, that it's one of those things where I'm like, yo, this needs to be a safe product. The people using it most of the time aren't the highest information buyers. Like most people know more about their subs than they do their batteries.
Yeah, that's true.
So, we kind of have to build not only into the product but into our ratings dummy proofing. So,
absolutely, I can understand more that way.
Yeah, like the HP40s able to output more than 450 amps at the right temperature. If you're 90 to 110 degrees, I can show you 550 amps to 12 volts. And actually, in our load test, we did have it at operational temperature when we did the load test, and I think we started at 540 and ended up around 480 by the end of the run. And we landed at 12:0 on the dot after 30 seconds.
So, I mean, jumping back a little bit to your previous statement about the new batteries that you're coming out with, what's the difference in the new batteries and the other batteries you just released 3 or 4 months ago?
So,
I mean, obviously I know, but I mean,
yeah. So the new batteries are not a replacement for the HP. The HPs are expected to be around for 2 to 3 years. and that's barring any issues with the cells stop being produced. We don't think that's going to happen with these cells, but realistically, we think this product is a viable product for the next 2 to 3 years. So this new product that we're coming out with is a 14 volt product, where our LFP products are 12 volt products, and then we discontinued completely 16 volt products for now. We do have some 16 volt products slated to come out in 2021, but those are not geared towards audio. You'll be able to use them in audio, but they won't have that discharge value that most people want. So.
Okay.
So this is basically our competition battery that's coming out, and our LFP series is our street battery.
Gotcha.
Yep. So if you're 14 charging down, if you have a stock alternator or anything like that, the HP's the go-to. And this new product, if you're okay putting a little elbow work in, if you're okay charging in mid 15s, and you want the best value that you can get, that's going to be this new product. And by the time you're done with it, you won't be able to tell that you saved money on it. That's kind of the big thing. Like, people will have these in their build and they'll think it's just a JY Power like battery and no corners were cut or anything like that, because the corners we cut, we were able to make up, and once we show the product, that'll make sense. And Jimmy understands what I'm saying here too. Custom bus bars. We're still working on bus bars. Unfortunately, I don't think those are going to be available until Q1 2021. So none of the bar manufacturers have jumped on getting them done. So we're going to do them ourselves. So. But yeah, the new product, it packs a lot of power into a small spot, so it hits the lanes people extremely well. Jimmy knows the size of it and the amount of power you're able to pull out of this little itty bitty spot, either continuously or pulse.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the pulse rating as well. I guess I can give that little teaser. So this one battery that is under $1,000 has a 15,000 watt pulse rating. And that is above 13 volts. So we're pretty excited about that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Actually,
so what about this fans only page you have?
Yeah, I don't know where the guys are getting that. I don't have that set up yet. That's next year.
Dan, always here for good commenting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, we've got, God, I think it's 9 new products we're releasing next year.
Wow. All batteries?
No, 3 or 4 of them are accessories.
That's cool. Like battery accessories or audio accessories?
Battery accessories. Yeah. So the other company that we are starting will not be under the JY Power umbrella. It'll be under a separate entity name, just because it doesn't make sense to mix this company and that company together.
Right.
We've been doing a lot of sub building too, and this new company will be able to encompass those sub builds too. We do overflow for Sundown when they need extra woofers built. So.
Cool.
Yeah, so we just did a couple months ago. We ran out of parts, so we had to wait on some parts to show in. But we did 350 woofers for JP recently. So
wow,
it's a nice little side gig.
Yeah. And you guys did something for Sundown too, didn't you?
Yeah. Those are the woofers that we built.
Well, that's what's going to JP.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know where they're going, but.
Yeah, those are, because we're local to JP. So Jake put out a feeler we've got a parts group that we've all known each other for damn close to 10 years now, but it's a bunch of people that have bought parts from Sundown over the years and were approved buyers to buy and sell their parts. And he just put out a feeler. He's like, hey, does anybody want to build a bunch of woofers for me? And at first I was like, nah. And I was like, we have some extra manpower right now. We could probably do it. And it made sense because, well, they don't have to ship it again after the woofers are built. So we just, JP swings over once or twice a week with a van or two, picks up his load and leaves. So we're about
Cool.
10 minutes from each other, and then we're about 5 minutes from the inbound port. So we don't actually have to have like our delivery shipments dropped off. All of our like pallets and everything that come in, we just go down the road with the trailer, have them loaded up.
Heard that.
Yeah, saves us a couple $100 extra to a couple
No doubt.
$1,000 for that last mile delivery they always get you on. So
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
yeah, last time before I knew it was there, I ended up paying like $1,500 for my last mile delivery, and I found out it was a couple miles down the road, and I was pissed.
Oh, man, yeah.
I thought this thing got loaded up in like LA. No, we've got our own inbound port here, so like it'll clear the water port in LA, and then it'll get sent to our like inbound ground port here, and then it gets released from there. So
Wow. Yeah, that's a painful couple of miles, man.
oh yeah, absolutely.
I'd
Especially when you
rather
got
not known that.
oh yeah,
Right?
if you can do your last mile pickup yourself when you're doing anything importing, yeah, do
Wow.
it.
Yeah.
So what about Dan O'Brien's question right there? Can you mix your your new batteries with the lithium caps?
Caps.
Or so lithium caps can be mixed. Well, I mean, it's a
So
little different question.
I think lithium caps are a thing. I didn't see that one. Oh, hey, Dan, there we go. Super caps and lithium. Yeah, you can, and
They're the same thing.
no, they're not. Caps work fundamentally differently than batteries. They just have a similar outcome. So like a super cap is only like 0.7 amp hours, but you can support momentarily. You can support 100 to 200 amp draw, which makes it have an insanely high C rate. But caps can be used for voltage stiffening, and with lithium, they do work very well with lithium. Once you start getting into gigantic banks of the two, you're kind of better off designing an electrical system around your needs instead of kind of band-aiding it. Like if you're doing pulse, some of these new LTO products are good, but caps still have a really good value, especially since you can buy them used. This LTO product, I would realistically compare pulse-wise to two banks of caps, and priced against two new banks of caps. It's got the value there. It's a little bit smaller, but up until now, caps for burps, and you use batteries for any music-related reserve type system. And then we've done some hybrid setups where we'll do a battery that's a higher voltage than the capacitor bank, and then you can just hit a button, and it opens a relay, and it'll recharge the cap bank from the battery instead of like needing to use an alternator or something like that.
I ran my AGMs with super caps.
Yeah, you can do that too. Caps work well with any other chemistry. Here's the thing though, like where most of us fall, like you're kind of only doing temporary voltage stiffening with them. So unless you have a really small system that you're really only covering little pulses above what you're able to handle, you're better off getting a battery, in my opinion.
So, what is a super cap compared to a cap?
Basically, how they're assembled. A super cap is an electric double layer, and then a capacitor, or just a standard capacitor, I believe, is a single layer. I'm probably wrong there, but
So probably
it's tolerances and how well it's made.
That increases the storage, right?
It increases the storage and the pulse capabilities. So we're working with actually work with two different capacitor companies. to try and bring out some new products. We these are still in pretty early stages, but one of them being Scotty. Scotty bought Ioxys, so
Yeah.
we do actually work with Scotty on a manufacturing level, or try to. We get along with those guys pretty well. Um, I'm not going to release the name of the other one, but we were talking with the other one the other day. I was talking with one of their engineers, and their electrode. So basically, what all the power is pulled in and out of the center of the battery. It's actually machined here in California, or here in the United States in California, and then they ship those over to China, and then they're made into the product and then shipped back here. So if I have to guess, from an educated guess, it comes down to the quality of the actual build, and because a 3,000 farad 2.73 volt cap is expensive. Cost wise, they cost more per piece than like our batteries, like per cell. So yeah,
Yeah. Kind of rather have a battery.
yeah. So it just you standard bank of caps, you figure they're rated for about 1,000 watts continuous. If you're wanting to use that as a daily option, it's about 1,000 watts. If you want to pulse as much power as you can out of it, 6,000 to 7,000 watts. So when we're talking about $300, $300 to $400, you can buy an AGM battery that supports 1,000-ish watts for a heck of a lot longer. For that price. Now, it's not going to last as long. Capacitor's going to last 10 or 15 years.
Right.
But most people are in the here and now, and they're not looking 10 years down the road. So that's lost a little bit because it's too much longer lasting. If it lasted twice as long, people will be like, oh, yeah, it's simple. I'm just going to go with that. No, it lasts 10 times longer. It's hard for people to kind of connect that.
Right.
So, and then you got lithium that enters the fray, and just so to support 5,000 watts, you'd want 5 banks of caps on the low end. You're looking at $1,500, and that'll support 5,000 watts for about 30 seconds. And you're going to be in the 11 volt range, and there's going to be no bounce back. So you got about 30 seconds playtime standalone. Now they do recharge fast, but lithium batteries realistically recharge in a similar manner. They're not. It's not as big of a spread as AGM to lithium. AGM to lithium is a 200 something times difference in charge rate, like recommended charge rates. So, and it can actually go higher. Like the new cell that we're working with is rated up to 67 times its capacity, whereas like an AGM battery is rated 1/20th. So 5% of its rated capacity time versus 670 times its capacity.
Right.
Yeah, or 670%. Excuse me.
That's a long time. Yeah.
Yeah. So the cap bank supplies $1,500 for the cap supplies 5,000 watts for 30 seconds, or a $900 battery in a much smaller space does so for 6 minutes.
Right. Yeah. Let me think.
Yeah. So it comes down to application. If you've got a little system that is you're just barely over your power requirements, a bank of caps isn't a bad idea. If you're wanting to power a huge system, at that point, just barely even look at alternators, because like some of the big systems we're talking about now, like I quote people out for 60 to 80,000 watt systems, somewhat regularly.
Yeah.
And I barely even look at alternator, because we're talking about knocking off like 15,000 watts for most people at maximum. That's just recharge at that point. That's not something we want to calculate into our actual discharge numbers. So
Right. Ain't even touching it.
yeah, Dan brought up the ecstatic cap that they released. Those are I've seen a couple different names for these, but we've seen them a couple years ago. they basically use a small amount of graphene, which is like the holy grail of electronics. It's different from graphite, which is the activated carbon that's in caps and batteries and stuff like that. But they use a small amount of graphene, which graphene is not. We don't have a good source on it yet. Nobody makes it very well, so the consistency isn't like the greatest, which is why we haven't seen a retail explosion of these batteries or a large amount of them being used outside of the bus sector, which is where they were developed for in the Chinese bus sector. Outside of that, they're not being used. So nothing as groundbreaking as they kind of make it seem. Like they made the claim that it has unlimited cycle life. Well, I hate to break this to anyone, but any of those capacitors have 1/10 the cycle life of a normal supercap. They're rated for about 100,000 cycles, where most supercaps are rated 1 million to 2 million. The lithium caps are rated 1 million to 2 million. So, it's cool though. I think it'll do roughly the power that they say it'll do. I was skeptical when I first saw it about the reserve capacity, because 7,500 farads is equal to, I remember it's like 10 amp hours or something like that in the voltage range that you're actually going to use it in. So it's about 10 amp hours. They rated it for like 300 amps or so, maximum continuous discharge, and they're I think they're $600. So I mean, it's cool, but not but a few days later, I got a ad on Facebook that Alibaba was trying to sell me the same thing. So I don't really think that was a developed product. I think somebody found a cool product and thought it would work well here and decided to sell it. And they didn't know enough about it before they started advertising, because they realistically got torn to shreds by everyone. So
wow. It disappeared pretty quick.
Yeah. And I'm sure it'll pop back up, but I tried to be as non-offensive and attacky as I could be. Like, hey, if you guys are going to make these claims, you need to provide evidence with it too, because you might disrupt a month of my sales because you said you've got the holy grail of battery electronics and then you disappear. That's going to make me feel some kind of way.
Right.
Yeah. Because people, when there's new releases like that, it does disrupt the flow. So, which is why Scotty waits to release his stuff. We wait to release our stuff until it's all ready. Things can change, and we've done this in the past where we thought a product was ready for development. We shared it, and then 2-3 weeks later, we got a message that the cell was being discontinued. We had about $30,000 in development into a NMC battery in 2018. And it was actually going to look a lot like an HP. The HP is not a new idea. I had the idea for the HP spring or summer of 2018 when I was trying to come up with a new battery hull versus the old one. And I wanted to incorporate the compression into the actual casing, and that's what we do with the HP40. So
now, what is the case on this? On this HP40, it looks aluminum.
It is. So that is a custom tooled aluminum extrusion case, and then the bottom panel is also a folded aluminum. It's about 1/8 inch thick. So the entire hull is a aluminum hull, and that's done for a couple different reasons. One, for safety reasons. So if a battery does go off, the battery case is not flammable. That's kind of a big deal. There's a lot of people putting batteries in plastic enclosures, which we have too. Don't get me wrong. It's economical in some ways. Like if you're using acrylic actually isn't economical. Acrylic is easier to work with without having to deal with toolings. But I mean, I'll say this publicly, like the tooling for the case for the HP40 was only about $2,500. So like to not just tool your own parts up is silly. Like, if you're injection molding, like if you don't know what you're doing and you just go somewhere and say, hey, I want a case made and I want it to look kind of like this. No, we go through, we figure out the cheapest ways to manufacture things without harming the quality or what we want out of it. So, and what we landed with it is extrusion. So we extrude the centers, and then we have the end caps bent to
The end caps.
sides. Yeah. So
Kind of like inspires. Been doing it for years, huh?
yeah, exactly. And that was kind of what gave me the idea. Is I was like, these amplifier cases can't be that expensive,
Right?
And, like, to give you an idea, the old Case 80, the acrylic hull and the end bars cost us $180. That's expensive on a battery that sells for $2,000, where 10% of the retail cost is taken up by the case. So we've
that's
much
high.
better. Oh yeah. So it was also done because of shipping damage. Not only, very rarely when we would send something out would something get broken. Very rarely, to the point where we don't insure packages. It's a complete waste of money to insure packages. I would need to lose 1 in 50 batteries for it to break even, and I don't. I lose 1 in a couple hundred batteries at best,
Right.
or worst case, I should say. But when a customer ships them back to us, or they sell it, they ship it to one of their friends, or whatever, it was fairly common for them to not be packed very well at all, and it was a heavy battery at that. The Case 80 was a 35, 40 pound. I know I say that's heavy, like it's heavy in the lithium world, but
right.
And then acrylic is fragile, so they would break. And I was actually at a show and somebody had bought one from us, and they walked across the parking lot with it in their arms, and they slipped and fell and broke their brand new battery.
Man,
we ended up like replacing the case for cheap for them, but still, like, that's stuff that sticks in your head when you go back to the drawing board and say, hey, I want to make a new product, and I want to make it better than our last product. So so the case is huge here. So the case is where we cut a mass amount of cost out of. We improved through customer feedback. There were a lot of people unhappy that they couldn't use the battery out of the box, or we saw them trying to use the battery out of the box, and we were like, "Oh, stop doing that! Buy bus bars." So this time, we put spot terminals, and people have been loving that. We include all the hardware that you need, including a little Allen wrench to put bolts on and everything. So really, really happy. And then we've got custom tooled packaging for these also.
So I have a question for you. So, sorry. Where's your partner been? Did he get married?
No, he's not married yet, but Yui is running the family business. So, and that, like, a lot of people, and rightfully so, were a little confused, because when Yui and I started this company, Yui was never supposed to work for the company. Yui had to come work for the company to help me and help get everything off the ground. But back in 2018, Yui's family was launching the United States side of their company, which was actually that really nice shop that we had in Des Moines was on that property. So once his time kind of came, he's been locked in and just doing the family business day in, day out since, like, everybody's seen him. So that's kind of got to be what he has to do to, like, everybody, makes the jokes that Yui's loaded, Yui's rich, blah, 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 blah. Yui works a lot, and
works his butt off for it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And Yui's one of the more talented people that I know when it comes to just kind of brains and smarts.
I miss seeing you guys in the lane together. It was kind of fun.
Oh yeah, and we talk every once in a while. Like he had bought a bag 3500. He was talking about bringing it down here to have us do a system in it. Then he had some problems with the truck, and then while he was having it worked on, they dropped it off the lift or some shit. So he gets fed up with things and then puts them down for like 6 months to a year. So he's fed up with it right now. But 2021, 2022, we'll probably see Yui come back out with something. You won't ever see him compete again. The only reason he ever competed is because I forced him to. I was like, yo, if we're going to put all this money into a company build, we need to compete.
The van was so nasty, though.
Oh, I mean,
it was just crazy nasty. I remember seeing that thing in the lanes.
Do you know the story of that though? Like that was never supposed to be that. So
No.
I sponsored that band back when it was first built under Cliff Beal and Mike Blanchfield, and the team helped build it. And Mike Blanchfield has actually built the closure for the Q. We're really good friends with Blanchfield. It's the whole family. So they built that and ran it for a few years, set the all-time record in Midwest SPL and held it for a few years. And then Cliff was getting too far into audio. Really good buddy of mine, still buddies with him. Got too far into audio, was kind of starting to lose a lot of the aspects of life, and kind of had to pull back and let go of everything. He's like a lot of us, where he's got an addictive personality. He started throwing everything he has at it. And he's got a family, and he's got kids, and he's got a business, and it was consuming him. So he got out of it, and ended up selling. I told him, I was like, if you ever sell the band, I want first dibs on it. Well, at the time that it went up for sale, I didn't have the extra money for it, but I was rebuilding a truck for Huey that he had bought, and the wall was starting to fall apart on it. And we got halfway through it, and I started looking through the whole truck, and I was like, dude, this is not a good template to work from. This thing has a ton of mechanical issues. Like, this thing's a turd. Like, let's just call it a loss, sell the truck to someone, and one of our buddies even bought the truck. He drove out from Indiana to buy the truck from us, but came back, and he ended up buying the van. And when he bought it, he's like, I just want a little system. I don't want anything crazy. Like let's just do SA15s in it, because it already had a wall for A15, so it was going to be somewhat heavy. But we were like, let's just do SA15s, and then we'll do like 2 of the twisted 3500s. And then we started bullshitting, and we got it, and we started playing with it a little bit, and we're getting ready to order stuff for him. And he's like, well, just check how much like ZV3s would cost. And so I get hold of Jake and tell Jake that, hey, we got the band back, blah, blah, blah. You interested in working with us on that? And he goes, yeah, absolutely. So me and Jake made a deal. And about a week later, I went to go pay for it. And I was talking to Brandon, and Brandon was like, oh, okay, here's the bill. And I was like, hey, this is like $500 more than what we talked about. What is this? He's like, well, Jake forgot shipping. And I was like, well, I'll go talk to some other people then. And we ended up going over to the guys at SSA, Aaron and the guys, and love those guys. Great group of guys over there. And we ended up buying 8 Z-Cons, Grand 8 Z-Cons for one show. And Jake came in and sat on it, and kind of was like feeling some kind of way that it wasn't his subs in there. So after that show, Jake got back hold of me, and we ended up making a deal on some ZV4s. And if I remember right, it ended up being the same cost as the ZV3 shipped as the ZV4s, and they were just coming out. So we custom built 8 of those, and had SPL surrounds, SPL spiders, and then we actually went with a smaller spider also. But did really well with that. Took it straight to Midwest SPL finals with 5 or 4. I think it was 4 of the original green 73s, and then 16 of the Twisted Sounds 3.5s. Hey, what's up, Jamie? And it beat itself. The van beat itself, beat its own record, and reset.
Hi, Jamie.
And technically, Chris Russ beat the record with his Jeep, and he was in line before us, and he beat it. He was so happy. I remember this. Like this was huge.
He was dancing around it. It was crazy. I remember
that. and straight up, we come up behind him, and I think we only beat him by I think it was 5/10 or something small. It wasn't a lot. And we come up, and we crack off our score, and me and you look at each other in disgust because we don't break 65. like here's Chris setting the record, and he's fucking elated, just can't get the smile off his face.
Wow.
And here's me and Yui. We set the record again, and we're disgusted because we didn't hit the number we wanted to hit.
That's painful.
Yeah, and then a year later, spent some more time working on it, cleaning it up, trimming out the back. If you guys saw the van the first time it came out, and then the second time it came out, it came out 3 times. One time it came out with AGM batteries, looked like shit. Second time it came out with our batteries, still looked like shit. Third time it came out, back looked beautiful. That's most people remember of the van is the third.
Wow.
The back of it, yeah. The back of it was crazy looking.
Yeah, those were like $1,500 bus bars.
I remember down here.
Crazy back then.
I remember down here loud and clear actually crawling into the wall.
Yep. So, and then before we ran it at Slam once with the Z-Cons, and we ran it at Slam once, I think, with the Zs. And then we never got to run it with the Neos. We went to Midwest, I think it was Slam, I don't remember what year it was. That year we ran the ZV4s at Slam, and then we bought Neos after. And actually we bought them, it couldn't have been that far because like we ended up having to 2-day all the Neos because we had to build them for the price we were buying them at. So we had to 2-day them out and then spend 2 days building them. And then go to, I think it couldn't have been USAC finals because.
I thought it was USAC finals.
Well, here's the thing. We ran the Neos twice. So I think we ran them once at Slam. So no, this was the year after we ran it at Slam with the Z-Cons. I don't think it ever ran at Slam with the Z4s. I think it ran at Midwest SPL with the Z4s. And then at Slam next year, we ran it with the compact Neos, but they had the Chinese X coils in them, and they didn't have the bunting cap, the Neo caps on the poles. And I believe we we showed a park and pound score of like a 52 or something like that, which is still to this day pretty fucking crazy.
Right.
I think that's wrong. I don't know because that's got to be wrong because the park and pound score of the cube isn't even that high. It was something crazy, so maybe it was a 42. But I just remember being blown away. But in that run, the head unit did something and the head unit blew up, shot flames out of the head unit, and sent a signal to the subs, and we popped almost every single sub. Like you could just hear it went wow, like in the middle of the song, and it was just done, and everything had died. So when we reconed them all, we actually had custom coils made by Precision that I had designed for the specific load that we were running. And then we put the bunting caps on, and we took it to USAC finals. And then at USAC finals, we did the 66. So second loudest build we've had. Cube's the only one that's louder.
Did y'all ever get a good number on the cube?
70. About flat on the nose. We never were able to get good testing in once we got the front cabin done. Like the 67s that we metered at shows, while impressive, like a lot of people didn't think that we had a hole in the dash that you could fit 2 people in.
Dang.
We never had the doghouse closed. So once we closed that doghouse, we shot up it was over 3 dB because our scores before we were doing a 67 on 20K. Whereas, when we did that fire off, our power almost halved and our score went up 3 decibels. So, and we played music there too, real quick. And it was uncomfortable to the level where if we were still playing it right now, I would not stand next to it and play. I did a fun meter session. This is before we got the cab mods done. we did some park and pound testing, and at 6 feet at peak frequency, so 55 hertz, we were doing a 147 at 6 feet outside the vehicle.
Wow.
And then at
Is that
20
with the outside wall turned on though?
no, that was no outside wall on. And then at 20 hertz, we would do a 39.9, which is like the current world record in park and pound, or right around there. So at the lowest frequency you could hear, we could tie the park and pound record. So that means if we would have done it after the cabin mods, we probably could have shown a 50 at 6 feet. So, which would probably be my goal if we brought it back out.
Here's a funny one for you. I actually did a 62.2 this weekend at 39 hertz.
Nice.
Yeah. It was kind of fun.
Yeah. It's been so long since I've even turned on a stereo. Like, I got a little audio front system in my Honda, but since Nevada's all fucked up the way it is right now, I can't get plates. So I'm not driving it. I'm driving a girlfriend's car around instead. So I have no audio in my life.
Maybe it's time for her to have an upgrade.
Yeah, I need to do that too. But now that there's kids involved, I got to buy Christmas presents and all kinds of different things. So I've already told her I'm doing something. I'm gonna put a little audio frog system in there. As far as daily systems go, I'm pretty partial to either Kicker or audio frogs. There's some sundown stuff that I like too, but a lot of the times I'll fall to audio frog for the speakers. Sub I can kind of go either way on. I do like audio frog sub, but Kicker's got a lot of good subs too. So as far as the components go, though, I do prefer Andy's kind of mid-level sets to what I do Kicker. So I love the Kicker Q components, but those are in like a weird price range. Those are $400 or $500 set of components.
Which components were they?
Which ones? The ones that I use in my car?
The $400 or $500.
Oh, that's the Q class kickers.
Yeah.
So, and I don't get me wrong, I love them. I had them in Bully Goat. They sound amazing.
Yeah.
But Andy's got this $300-ish set. And honestly, as long as they're tuned correctly, you can run them on head unit power, and there's more than enough volume there. I've never actually turned them up all the way, but for $350, you get a set of speakers that's kind of no frills, but the sound that you get out of them without having to dick with things is awesome. So the tonality is where it needs to be. Now, if I wanted $100 set of speakers to throw on mine in something, I would buy a pair of kickers. Like, as far as $100, $200 set of speakers goes, I'm buying my K series speakers. They just don't have anything in between K series and Q series that hits that where I'm entry level, because I'm probably not gonna run K series. They're not bad sounding speakers, but if you're wanting something really high fidelity, you're gonna have to toy with them a lot. They're an inexpensive, decent sounding drop-in replacement for a lot of different vehicles. And the price and the warranty and everything else reflects that. But at that, Audio Frog also has $1,800 three-way component sets. That's what we've got. Hunter's truck, yeah. If you want to spend that,
amazing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and it gets better all the time because he learns new techniques and stuff like that. So, Audio Frog just offers a different kind of product, a different target base that they look to sell to. So, and Andy stopped by the shop a couple times. Obviously, Kicker stopped by the shop a couple times too. But we're good friends with those guys, and I like his products a lot. So, big fan there.
So this is good and bad, I guess. But see, I've been in the Kicker bubble for 40 years. Mm-hmm. Not really 40, but close. Since I turned 12, I have not owned a speaker that wasn't a Kicker speaker.
That's awesome.
And I've never even heard of Audio Frog.
It's
So
a very small company. So Andy used to work for Harman Kardon. He's actually the guy that designed the MS8.
wow.
Yeah, their
Okay.
sound processor. So Andy's very distinguished in the field. If you guys ask the guys at Kicker who Andy Weimer is, they all know Andy well and intimately. He's a character. He's a very fun old man, very grumpy old man sometimes. But
Yeah.
as far as sound quality goes, setting a sound stage, getting tonality correct. Um, Andy does seminars at KPest and stuff, teaching dealers how to do a lot of that stuff. Um, so Andy is very niche. Andy knows his niche. He wants to stay niche. He's got his customer base. He's not looking to become a big audio company. He just wants to make his living at it, being his own boss. So
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose I do.
well, and he's kind of outside your realm too. I don't know how much sound quality you guys follow.
Actually, I'm a sound quality
A
guy.
lot.
Are you?
A lot.
Yeah. But I used, we've always used Kicker. They've always had an upper brand that we could use, or upper series. I have about 6 pair of the resolution sets that I had in my truck. The old resolutions.
I've tried talking Steve into doing a high-end $1,000-ish component set, and because I told him, I was like, your big thing isn't so much what the product costs, it's that the product is high value. You can have an expensive product that is still very high value, but I think they see the issue is marketing and brand recognition, because you don't think Kicker and think sound quality ever, like anybody. You think loud, you think disturbing the streets, because that's what their marketing's been. That's they grew up as an SPL company. That's what people know them as. Versus a JL. JL isn't known for being loud at all. Quite the opposite. They get made fun of for being not loud.
Yeah.
So for them, I think the problem for them, it doesn't lie in not being able to make the product or not wanting to make the product, but not being able to sell the product in sufficient quantity to justify developing it.
Building it, yeah.
Yeah, you guys know when I say that what that means, but when we started the Solo X project with them back in
4 years now.
Yeah, it was 2016, 2017. I never really knew how long this development path was going to take. And we were really heavily involved in that. And that was really crazy to kind of see and participate in. We've seen some people claim that they designed it, and we're like, yo, we all participated in development. Nobody here did any development. I went and asked a bunch of questions to them and gave them my opinions, and then they turned all that info into some cool shit. So yeah, I don't know anything about designing amplifiers. I know a little bit about designing subs, but not compared to the guy that they have. So
yeah, their motor man, I think, is amazing.
Yeah, no, he's great.
I would love to get him on here, but I don't know if we could have a conversation with him.
I don't think so. From what I understand, he's got pretty broken English, so which is kind of crazy.
Well, and I don't know if we can get on his level even for a stupid conversation, right?
Oh yeah, no, he's even gonna start losing me in that conversation because yeah, I've designed and sold subwoofers, and manufactured them. I'm not a Jake. I'm not a Steve. I'm not what I know about subs. I know through a more primitive style, a more SPL style testing. I don't I do FEA analysis, which is where we see all those pretty lines in the Gauss simulations. So I'll do those for the motors. But when it comes to soft parts, I'm out of my league, man. I'll go to Jake and I'll test through his soft parts. I'll go to Phi and test through. I'll find parts that work well to get us where we want to be. Whereas Jake sits down on a program and designs, or Kicker sits down and designs what they want and knows, if I make this roll, this geometry, it's going to affect this. It's going to affect the FS at this portion of the stroke, and
Right.
Yeah, so it's not well beyond me, but I'm not trained in it. None of us are trained in it. It's not our day in, day out, so we're gonna get left in the dust.
You can't know everything, man. That's what I've come to learn.
Nope. So
Can't be a pro at everything.
that's why we've kind of stuck to what we know, and even the new business ventures that I'm doing are still within my realm of knowing. And the new product that we're actually hoping to make is going to be the simplest product that I've ever made. It's legitimately getting the R&D down to get the process down, and that's most of our footwork to begin with. And then we're actually going to automate the process. So we're going to pay an engineering company to come in and build us a couple machines to do the process. So it's a
cool.
hand-done process.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be some cool stuff. Yeah. And then we've got some new stuff that we think we can improve the part too, not just make it more efficiently, but actually make it better. So,
Wow. Cool deal. Well, I can't wait to know what it is.
oh yeah, I'll keep everybody updated, and kickers involved too. So that'll kind of wet the taste buds for people.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, and do any of you guys got any questions for Travis before we get out of here? I know we're getting on the hour and a half mark here, and we're
So, Travis, you say you're releasing your new product later this week?
Yeah, I'm thinking Thursday or Friday I'll be done with all my documents and everything. I'm doing press release stuff, making sure all my renders look good, making sure I have all my renders. So it's a whole process instead of just, in the past we've just taken a screenshot, put up some info, and been like, hey, look what I got.
Right.
We've been growing a little bit.
Well, that's cool. So. Well, I don't think we don't usually book people in advance. I've been trying to, but so we don't have anybody next week. So if you want to pop in for a few minutes and
cool, yeah,
you're welcome too, man.
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
Let us know you can have it.
Absolutely, man. So
absolutely.
Cool. Well, thank you guys for having me on. As always, had a great time.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Absolutely, and Jimmy, we'll be in touch. So
definitely, sir. All right. Well, thank you to everybody that's watched. Hopefully, there's a little bit of information, and always reach out to Travis. He's a smart man, and he knows a lot about a little things.
Yep. Awesome. You guys are great. Thanks for having me on.
All right. We'll see you, Travis.
All right. Later.
Bye-bye. All right. Yeah. I appreciate y'all hanging with us tonight. We've been a little long, but not really, I guess. That's kind of normal for us, isn't it?
It's kind of normal. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, we'll see you guys next Monday. Quick question, though. You guys can comment on this later, maybe on this feed. We're thinking of moving the show to 6:30 instead of 7. And what do you guys think about that? And just message us or just put in the comments, and we'll see you next week.
Have a good night.